Good morning and welcome to Yoga in the House with Cheryl, and welcome to our morning yoga with intention. So today I'm trying out something new, and I'm hoping that maybe you could give me some feedback on this. I wanted to switch out microphones just to compare. So I have a headset on. That's why it might look like I have something on my face, but that's really the microphone. And we'll see what happens. This might be something that I use in the long term. So today's Yama is brought to you by Ahimsa. So I worked my way back from the end of what we usually say, the end of the yamas, because they build upon each other. And so we are up to the very first yama that we typically talk about that sets the tone for our yogic path in the 8 limbs of yoga. And Ahimsa is all about non-harming. And when we think about non-harming, we think about, well, I wouldn't hurt somebody, I wouldn't hit somebody, I wouldn't cause harm intentionally to somebody. But we can harm people and we can harm ourselves with thoughts, words, and deeds. Even with the negative thoughts that we have about somebody, that sends off negative energy. And it also creates a negative energy within ourselves. So thought, word, and deed is what we are going to consider as we come to the mat today to do our practice, Ahimsa. So come on to the mat. We're going to stand up nice and tall, coming into low mountain pose, settling into the earth, taking in that energy from the soles of the feet, letting it rise on up as we breathe in deeply and let it go. And we're going to do some breath work. So taking the palms of the hands, flipping them up so that they are facing forward, we're going to just raise them on up to the shoulders and then flip them over, bending at the knees, slowly lowering the hands, maybe taking them all the way behind the back. So we're going to do that a few more times, raising the hands up as we breathe in and lower. Rise and fall. And a few more at your own pace. Focusing on the breath, sending energy to all those nooks and crannies in the body. And one more in breath and out. And come back to mountain pose. We're going to take those hands, raise them up overhead. Drop that left hand, take the right hand over to the left side of the head, and we're going to gently pull that head over to the right shoulder, getting in a neck stretch. Dropping that shoulder, that left shoulder down so that we're getting the optimal stretch here. And then kind of pull on a diagonal here. So maybe bring the hand to the back of the head, not too hard, but just gently pulling. And release that hand. Bring that left hand up and over to the other side of the head. And lower that left ear, gently pulling. This is where I get really tight, being on my electronics all day. And then take that hand to the back of the head, gently pull diagonally. Nice. And release. Bring those arms up and overhead. Clasp them and bring them behind your neck. Maybe even giving your neck a little massage. And shine the heart forward as we spread those elbows wide, looking up at the ceiling, stretching out long in the spine. And then bring those elbows forward, pulling on the shoulders, pulling open the upper back. Elbows almost kiss. And they wave hello. And then they open back up. Nice. And let's take those arms out to the side and down. And we are going to drop those knees, coming into a kneeling pose. And send those arms back out long. And take that left or that right foot and send it out to the side. And we're coming into our gate pose. So drop that right hand down. Arm comes up over. To stretch that left hand, reaching for the right. Opening up the left side body. And then we're going to take that left hand, drop it down to the other side of the mat as we come up, raising that right leg out long, sending that right arm toward the top of the mat. And so we're stretched out here from the tip of the right finger all the way to the foot on the right. And flex that foot. And then we're going to swim that right hand back as we bend the right knee, and we're going to get in a quad stretch here. Pushing foot into hand, pulling the foot with your hand. So we've got some synergy going on here. And release it back out. And then bring it on down to neutral. Take the left leg out long, arms go out long, drop the right hand and bend over into gate pose, bending into that left and cracking open the right side body. And then take it over to the other side. Right hand comes to the mat as we lift that left leg, stretch that left hand out to the front of the mat or the back of the mat, wherever you may be. Flex that foot. And then reach for the left foot with the left hand, quad stretch on this side. And release it down. Come back up to kneeling. And we're going to do a a half camel, raising those arms up overhead. Sometimes I get confused early in the morning. Drop that right hand, reach down for the right heel as we take a little twist and bend in half camel. And release it, switch arms, and take a lift and bend back on the left side. And release it. Let's come on to all fours. Hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. And we will here do a little bend. So we're going to bump the right hips out to the side and then take that left hand. So we're kind of making a U with our body in this pose. So stretch a little more, opening up that left side, stretching out the hip, and release it. Let's do the same with bumping out that left hip to the left side, reaching over, that right hand comes over the left, making a U with our body on this side. And release it. Tuck those toes under, send those hips up, and come into our first down dog. Keep those knees bent. And let's pedal the feet out. Breathing in, breathing out. Sending life-giving oxygen to the body. Practicing Ahimsa. Non-violence, non-harm. And find some stillness with those feet. And let's walk those feet grapevine style, nice and slow, to the top of the mat. And when you get there, come into forward fold. And hands come to the shins or fingertips touch the mat. Rise up to flat back. And lower it down. Rise on up. Good morning, sun. Hands come together and down to heart center. And take a moment here to set an intention. Perhaps it will be about Ahimsa, practicing nonviolence or non-harm in thought, word, and deed today. And let it be so. Drop those hands, send them down and around and up, and forward fold. Half lift, lower, and send those feet out, coming into plank, lowering the knees, dropping down, lift up to cobra, and lower, and push it on back. Tuck the toes, come into down dog. Nice. In down dog, we're going to drop the hips. So we're coming into a little twist here, stretching open the side body on the right. So we're coming up to the blades of the feet here. And then take it over to the other side. I didn't explain that very well, so hopefully you can peek at the camera and look. And come on back, and we're going to step, hop, or jump to the front of the mat, coming into forward fold. Rise up to half lift, flat back, and lower, and rise all the way up to high mountain. Hands come together, heart center, down and around and up, and forward fold. Half lift, lower, step back, and do your chaturanga, lowering down to the belly, or do a little up dog. I have a little sleeping dog next to me here. Take that body on back to down dog. She loves to be by my side when I do yoga. And one more step to the front of the mat. Come into half lift and lower. Rise on up. Hands come together. Heart center. Down and around and up. Reach into the sky. And instead of coming down into preparation for down dog, we're going to sit into chair pose here. So sit back there. Most of the weight should be in your heels. So see if you can sit a little deeper in that chair pose. And then forward fold. Take a half lift and lower and step it back for chaturanga. Lowering it down, taking a lift up and back. Step forward. And we're going to take those hands, fingertips sweep on up to chair pose again. And then drop those hands, sweep them past the mat, reaching back behind you. And then take them back on up where we'll stand all the way up into high mountain. Take a little bend back, shining that heart up to the sky. And all the way down to forward fold. Take a half lift. And lower. And bend those knees. Come on up to chair pose again. Drop those hands to the mat, sweeping them past the mat to behind your back. And then sweep them back, standing all the way up. Bring those hands together. Down to heart center, and keep them going as you come into forward fold. Take a half lift and lower. Step the feet back and come in for your vinyasa flow, lowering it down, lifting up, and pushing back. Float that right foot to the sky. Nothing real intense here. You're just getting a little stretch and a little strengthening. And then we're going to bend that knee. Bring it all the way through to set the foot between the hands and come into low lunge. Get down there as far as you can, sending that heart forward, pushing the legs wide apart. And then drop that back knee. Raise those hands overhead and take a little arch back. Lift up, bring those hands to clasp behind your back, sending the knuckles down, pulling down while shining that heart forward. And release it. Bring those hands to frame the foot. And you can lift the knee or leave it where it is. We're going to send that right hand up to the sky, taking in a twist here. Release. Send that right foot back. Lower down for chaturanga. And up. And send it back where we'll meet in down dog. Float that left foot up. And bend the knee, bringing that left foot all the way through to set it between the hands. Come into low lunge. Drop that back knee. Come on up, raising hands overhead. Taking an arch back. This is a nice balancing pose, as well as stretching and strengthening. And lower those hands to come behind the back and clasp as we pull those knuckles down toward the mat. Shining that heart forward. And release it. Hands come to frame the foot. Lift that back knee or leave it right where it is. Place the right hand next to the left foot. Send that left hand up to the sky. Coming into a nice twist. And release it. Send that left foot back. Ooh, I had some crackage there. Lower down for your vinyasa flow. And we'll all meet in down dog. We're going to take a little roll over to plank pose. And here, we're just going to nice and easy lift up that right foot just an inch or two. Nothing drastic. And lower. Lift that left foot up. Just some heat building and strengthening. And lower. Drop those knees. Push it all the way back into puppy posture, not quite into child's pose. Send those arms out long. Push the hips up. Get in a nice stretch here. And then walk those hands on back. Underneath the shoulders. Coming back into our tabletop. Let's do one more twist here, sending that left hand up to the sky. And then lower it all the way through to under the right arm. So thread the needle. And you can stay here, or you can raise that right hand up toward the sky. If you want a little more, drop that right hand behind the back. placing it between the thigh and the side or the belly, coming into a bind. And unwind. And we'll do the same on the other side. Float that right hand up to the sky and send it on through to thread the needle. And once you get situated here, you may choose to stay or raise that left hand up to the sky. You can stay here, or if you want a little more, drop that left hand down between the thigh and the belly and coming into your bind. And release it. Come on back up to neutral. And we're just going to send it all the way back to child's pose. I could actually do my meditation in this pose. I love this pose. But for our purposes, I won't stay here. Let's bring it on back and pull ourselves all the way over into seated, where we will round out our practice with a meditation, and the meditation will be on Ahimsa. So sitting comfortably wherever you are, whatever makes sense for you. Palms down or palms up on the knees, or maybe resting in your lap. Find that comfortable space. And take in a nice deep breath and let it go. Using your Ujjayi breath, the sound of the ocean that you make in the back of your throat, like when you're doing a on a mirror or window, but with your lips sealed. And bring your awareness to your body, doing a full body scan, just noticing how your body feels different after doing that practice. So Ahimsa is what we want to meditate on today. Ahimsa is non-violence or non-harm. And as I talked about in the beginning of our practice, that means that, it could be in a physical sense, but really what we're referring to here is how are we treating not only others, but how are we treating ourselves? Thought, word, and deed are all the things that we consider in Ahimsa. When we think about what we put in our body, what we put in our head, anything that we consume, what is it that you're consuming? Is it something that is going to bring life? Or is it something that's slowly killing your spirit, leading you to feel angry or irritable or sad? It starts with you, and anything that you are taking in is going to reverberate. You're going to be sending out those electrical impulses that could either be life-giving or slowly killing or harming someone without even realizing it. What are you doing in thought, word, and deed to bring life and joy and then further, how are you bringing life and joy to others? There's so much more that we could get into with Ahimsa, but let's just meditate on this for a few moments. How will you live into Ahimsa? I invite you to gently bring your awareness back to the space that we share. You are always welcome to stay in your meditation or come back to it. Flutter open the eyes. Hello. And I hope that you are being thoughtful about how you will practice Ahimsa today and every day. It's not easy. None of these things that we've talked about this week, or as we go on and talk about the whatever theme or affirmation we use, these are not easy. And I don't want to give the impression that I'm simplifying it, that if we just practice yoga, it will all come easily. That's why we call it practice, so that we can strengthen that mental muscle, tolerate adversity, and feel solid in who we are. So I hope you have a wonderful day and you go out and surround yourself with things that are life-giving. Let's do a couple more deep breaths together, sending those arms up to the sky. And hands come to touch. Bring them down to heart center. One more deep breath. Life-giving breath, and letting go of all that does not serve you or no longer serves you. Let your light shine. I see you. Have an awesome day and strong end of the week. Namaste.